It's the dawn of a bright new day. And of course, we only just have to bask in the beauty of the day.
Yes, we do. It's always the right attitude to have. It gives you a great start to your day. So, hey, this is what we do every morning on Wake Up Nigeria.
It's time for us to deliver to you a fresh from the oven edition of your numero uno breakfast show, Wake Up Nigeria, of course. And we really are going to do that.
Yeah.
We definitely are.
We remain number one. And our darling MM is right there in the kitchen looking glorious. She always looks so good, like, you know how the cherry on top of a cake looks? You just want to take the cherry off, eat it, and, you know, leave the rest of the cake. That's MM. What?
I was going to say eat me, but I guess it's too early for lots of people.
Yeah, too early.
How are you guys? How are you doing?
We're
Good. Of course, I am Mike Mesekeno, and we remain your number one stop for everything educated and entertainment.
My name is Titilayo Oyinso, and what he said, yes. We need you to remember something important, though. If you're going to leave the house, please make sure you go with a nose mask. Make sure you go with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. These remain essential to your safety during this period.
And if you need to go out, remember, you can stream with us, tvcentertainment.tv, also on Facebook at TVC Connect.
Yeah.
If you want to connect with us, use the hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC.
Those comments, we love them. And we also have an app that remains available for you to download at no cost to you. Just use Android or iOS store. Once you have the app on your devices, you can watch us from anywhere in the world.
All right, kicking off today's show is Chude.
All right, welcome. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, Thursday morning, the 11th of June.
Yes,
and
11th of June, very memorable for me.
Yes.
Ah, tell me. What's
My anniversary.
Oh.
Happy anniversry, MM.
Wonderful.
You know, I almost forgot.
That's one of those things you don't forget.
Wonderful.
Last year, I forgot last year.
No.
It did happen. You cannot come and kill
I
yourself.
can't come back in myself. I'm telling you. I mean, I was just, you know, this morning. Okay, so what reminded me was a friend of ours posted a picture on the day of our wedding. Okay. Yeah, there was a picture he took of us, so it was just memories like posted on Instagram, and I saw the notification this morning, and I was like, oh my god, today is actually our anniversary.
So how many?
And I was like,
how many years is it now?
4 years. My
4
world,
years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
For
How time flies, though.
honestly.
Like, where does time go? I mean,
In fact, you know, I said I feel like it's, although it's not as actual like the older you get, the faster time flies.
yeah.
One day you just wake up and you're 60.
60.
Yeah.
The next day you're just talking to
And then you
someone.
ask yourself, what are you doing with your life? What have
I say, so I remember there was a time when you would always want to think, ah, God, there's one prayer I never forgot that I prayed one time when I was in GS1. And I was like, God, when will I enter GS2? Because, so I was in a school where if you were in GS1, you were you were under those in GS2, GS3,
Yeah, you were under
SS1,
everyone.
SS2, SS3.
Yeah.
So like a GS2 student could tell you to kneel down.
Wow.
Do you understand? So you had like 5 levels to go. So I was like, they don't talk of SS3. Those were like gods.
Yeah. Yeah.
SS. Well, when we go on that, SS seemed to be associated with something that was not for. But SS that time, you were a god. Like, wow, you've been so big. And then look at now today. SS was like maybe 20 years back and all that.
Exactly.
And someday it'll be like, so I don't know, time flies.
Yeah.
It
So when it
does.
comes to anniversaries, you know, a lot of people just look back and try and count the blessings that they have, that so many people in the same amount of time of being married might not have had, and then, you know, they're grateful. So this is where I put you on the spot. So what are you getting for Oga? What are you buying for Oga?
She
When I
should
just
say it
came back
here.
this morning.
You want her to say it here?
What the?
Don't worry, we have our special.
You really
way
want
of,
her to say it here?
You know.
Okay, but you're going to cook
surprising
something nice.
ourselves.
Are you going to cook something nice? Maybe?
Well, right, to be sincere, right now I don't have anything in mind, but I know
Don't
it's
worry.
going to be.
I know that our
memorable.
viewers will have some
Amen.
suggestions
Keep
for
it
you.
in your mind.
And they're probably already thinking about some suggestions for
it's
you.
just for two of you. Don't bother, but just do what we don't want third party or
Give
fourth
them
party
right.
or fifth party.
Wow.
Just focus on the 2 parties involved.
So that's an inside joke from yesterday.
It's not inside. It's outside. Third party, fourth party, fifth party. Let's focus on it.
Please give some recipe suggestions to, make this evening, to make the anniversary memorable. Maybe use our hashtag Wake Up Nigeria.
Right, that would be nice.
Yeah,
and
then we'll be able
nice.
to, but so that's why you're looking all glowy and all smiley.
Was I not glowing yesterday?
No, you were. I'm just saying, it's a small.
I always glow. I make it a conscious effort to make sure every time I step out of my house, I'm glowing.
More, it's very simple. See the glow now. The glow is on, let's say, like stage 3. If you want the glow to enter stage 7,
okay,
7th heaven. I gave you a tip yesterday.
Okay.
You didn't listen. You're not listening.
I didn't get it.
You're not listening.
Are you talking about the food?
No,
I'm not going to mention the animal.
It's the name of a car that passed. It's called 404.
Wow.
You know how it is. Okay,
Just
but you know how it is. MM's glow reach level 7. Even she said she knows that. Even from within, this is all that you say that.
So this last anniversary for us was during lockdown. So there wasn't really much I could do. I just had a few things in the house. So I brought out my grill as usual.
Are you serious?
And I grilled some chicken and did some mashed potatoes and stuff like that. So, lockdown events.
Yeah. No.
It's not going to work, Abby.
Pounded yam will do it.
I assumed as much. Now, it's about time for me to take the news updates at this point. And there has been a surge in number of rape cases in the last 2 weeks. And the outrage has been widespread. No fewer than 3 young girls died in the hands of rapists within the period. The federal government has described the upsurge as embarrassing and pledged to take decisive action against offenders. This formed part of the decisions reached at this week's Federal Executive Council, with a firm resolve to push for the domestication of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015 in states. The Ministry of Works also secured approvals for award of 3 roads and the Jebi Lamba Bele Road in Adamawa State, the Achingali Udobi Udona Umuana Ubukala Road, also including the bridge across Imo River in Imo State. Okay. And the Jamai Basha Zuruk Andame Karim Lamido Road, linking Plateau and Taraba states, at a total cost of 115.63 billion naira. These projects are to be executed under the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, improving road transport, roads connecting the critical agriculture and mining with economic areas in the state. Finally, Council approved a request for revised estimated cost for the completion of the Zungeru Wushishi water supply project in Niger State, raising the project cost from 1.93 billion naira to 6.955 billion naira. The 36 persons killed by bandits during a midnight attack on some villagers in Fazkari and Dandume local government areas of Katsina State have been buried, but would like to warn that the images in this story may be disturbing. Barely 1 week ago, the district head of Yantu Maki was killed by bandits. The southern part of Katsina have come under more attacks since the commencement of special military operations in other parts of the state. Sources confirm that many of the victims' bodies are yet to be retrieved for burial, as the bandits are still roaming around the attack sites. In Borno State, Boko Haram fighters struck, killing 69 persons. Let's warn again that some of the clips in this story may be of a disturbing nature. The attack occurred in Faduma Koloram village and Gubio local government area of the state, as residents went about their daily activities. The insurgents arrived in vehicles and on motorcycles, shooting sporadically, after which they set the village on fire. The attackers also made away with more than 1,000 cattle and camels. Eyewitnesses say the men attacked because they suspected that the residents were sharing information on Boko Haram fighters with security authorities. Gubio was one of the first local government areas to be resettled in 2015. No statement has been released from the military or the government on the Borno State attack. Then moving on, the House of Representatives has passed a 10.85 trillion naira as the revised 2020 budget. The figure includes 4 billion to offset arrears of resident doctors' allowances. The devastating effects of COVID-19 outbreak in the country compelled the executive arm of government to request a downward review of the 10.59 trillion naira 2020 Appropriation Act. The fall in the price of crude in the international market dampened all other projections and templates put forward by the executive. But after 2 weeks of legislative work, the House came up with an increased budget figure of 10.85 trillion naira, including 4 billion for resident doctors. The chairman of Appropriation, Mukhtar Betera, says the committee, in the course of its duties, received correspondence from the executive on the contingency fund and contingency capital. The difference in figures projected by the two chambers of the National Assembly for the revised budget is already causing controversy. And now to aviation matters. The domestic wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, is fast being prepared for flight resumption in a little less than 2 weeks from now. This is to ensure that passengers observe COVID-19 preventative protocols and as directed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. General aviation is terminal wearing and a new look in readiness for the 21st of June. The new design is in line with impacts of coronavirus on the aviation sector in Nigeria. Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria has created lanes for queues, floor markings, and tents for port health to check the health status of passengers. Inside the terminal are shields at airline counters to prevent staff and customers from direct contact. At the departures waiting area, there are signage for seating, security screening, and much more. All of these are to ensure that passengers observe social distancing, hand washing, and sanitizing at the airport. For the regulators, almost all scheduled airlines have filed their restart plans, and the agency is reviewing their documents. International Air Transport Association has predicted that airlines will lose $84.3 billion globally this year, while 50% of the carriers will be bankrupt if they do not receive assistance from their governments. And that's it on the news update for this hour. We'll return with sports. Yes, indeed. It's about time for us to look at the headlines in the dailies this morning. And I'm going to be starting with the Punch newspaper right now. And it says, governors, NMA, NLC, others tackle reps over NCDC bill. Legislation threatens Nigeria's federalism. Recipe for disaster, says NGF. Ogun records 104 coronavirus infections in Shagamu Company. And it also says, right below the photo story here, Amotekun begins operation in Oyo, July, says Makinde. Lagos mechanic burnt in gas explosion. Insurgents pretended to be preachers, killed 81 people, survivor tells Zulum. Ondo cemetery workers remanded for cutting off corpses' heads. Page 5 has more on that. Obaseki in late night session as APC screens Edo aspirants. Above the masthead there, it says COVID-19 threatening 13 million jobs in Nigeria, according to the UN. And right at the top, some Nigerian operators producing oil at $93, says NMPC. That's what I have on the cover of the Punch. Now, moving as quickly as possible to the Nation newspaper now. It says, Edo, Ondo, violence will stop results declaration, INEC warns. APC panel screens Obaseki, Iziyamu, others. It says here, lockdown raised rape cases, says federal government. Man rapes 40 women in Kano. My goodness. 2 die for rape robbery. And 45-year-old defiles toddler. My goodness. Tribunal dismisses Melaye's case. Alafin says no grudge against Makinde. Joshua Fury seal 2-fight deal. And House raises revised budget by 296 billion naira. That's what we have on the cover of The Nation. I have the Guardian newspaper with me here, and it has this headline. It says, anxiety mounts as APC panel screens Edo Guba candidates. Obaseki graduated from UI, registrar confirms. Panel screens Izeyamu Ogewonyi Udubu Obazi. Governor appears for late-night screening. INEC warns against violence in Edo-Ondo polls. Just beneath the masthead there, it says, government won't hold bid rounds for OPLs, OMLs without PIB. More on that on page 3. Federal government moves against rapists, urges domestication of law in states. How chloroquine can be used to treat coronavirus by VC. Page 4 has more on that. 81 feared killed as Boko Haram attacks Borno village. Governors, Labour, NMA, others tackle reps over health bill. House bars journalists as CUPP urges rejection of final report. I have the Vanguard newspaper here with me now, and it has this headline. It says here, Obaseki cries, I can't get justice from screening panel. APC stalwarts bicker as UI clears Obaseki. APC committee screens Obaseki. Others get 6 petitions against him. Edo governor counters INEC on primary calendar. And moving to the top of the page here, it says, what we submitted to U.S. Department that rattled presidency, according to IPOB. Why is Justice Ikpeme not qualified to be Cross River Chief Justice? Question mark there. Reps pass revised 2020 budget, raise estimate to 10.805 trillion naira. And I'll wrap with this one. Lagos court frees girl 15 accused of killing dad's friend over rape. Now that's a story that I'll be reading on page 6. I have the Nigerian Tribune coming up next, and it says 99 killed in Borno, Katsina. Kidnappers kill 2, abduct others in Kogi. Police arrest man who raped 40 women in 1 year. Just seems so unbelievable. Reps pass revised 2020 budget of 10.8 trillion naira. Over 100 million Nigerians have no identity, says NIMSI. 4.3 billion naira EFCC didn't arrest, interrogate our officials, say Ondo government. And Edo APC factions duel over state secretariat, right INEC. Obaseki graduated from UI, school says. And right at the top there, it says Nigeria, India, Democratic Republic of Congo, home to over 33% of the world's poorest, according to the World Bank. Let me see if I have time for, okay, I think we're out of time now. I would have taken the Daily Sun, but we'll be taking a quick break and we'll take the headlines again. Thank you so much for that one, Chude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so Big Brother has been trending, and something I just want to point out, I've not seen any of the recent reunion and all of that, but what actually happened was that a lot of things that had gone past were brought up because people got to see what people said about them, maybe in their diary sessions. Yeah. So there's this joke that after talking to someone or some people on the phone, if you could hear 10 seconds after they drop the call, you will not be speaking to a number of people. Okay. And that statement is 100% true. I know what I'm saying. I've had situations where I thought maybe the call had, and not because of at times it's intentional, at times it's not intentional. We had times where where you think the call has cut, and you drop one sidebar like that, and then you find out that the call is still on. Or somebody else, you understand, the person thinks that the call has dropped and says something and you hear.
Yeah. So now...
So he just goes on to say, he always said that if you heard what people say 10 seconds after they drop your call,
or after you leave the room,
you might not be talking to a number of people, and that's quite, that's
so
like
after you leave the room, they're actually so I think there's something, it has something to do with, I'm going to say upbringing and etiquette. Yes, I'm going to say upbringing and etiquette. I'm going to put that there first. For phone calls, right? One, for phone calls.
I don't think so.
For phone calls, that's one. Two, so I've been at the receiving end of many different barbs, and I'm using the word barbs for a reason. There are a lot of people who have
given any.
Wait, calm down. MM is back. Hey, MM is back. I've missed you. When it comes to conversations where different opinions and people are highly opinionated on different things, and maybe you've tried to build a relationship with someone or you understand how someone thinks, there's some things that you say in the earshot or in front of the person that you definitely not say if the person was not there. And I have a feeling a lot of people have learned this from their parents. So I had a case, yes, they learned it from their parents. Yes, why? Because we were taught, okay, some people were taught that if Uncle Lagbaja or Auntie Lagbaja comes to the door, tell him I'm not at home. Tell her I'm not at home, right?
Okay.
And then in front of your kids,
you're
saying all sorts of things about these people.
Okay.
So it becomes sort of okay, it becomes like a culture, you know, so you just be nice in front of them and then suddenly...
And then it grows with you.
And it grows with you.
And then you're instilling that same attitude to your
completely,
children.
100%.
Okay.
100%. So it makes it seem okay that, okay, when you're in front of someone, you behave a certain way, you're all warm and, you know, loving, and then when they go, thank God, the person has gone, or, you know, the attitude changes.
That is, look, this one you are making deep parents, you learn from parents.
So I'm saying origins. I'm saying origins.
See, it just actually brings to mind, okay, it's a totally unrelated issue though, but I think that we should look into it, yeah. So a friend of mine whose brother just lost his wife, yeah.
Okay.
And she's to go see him. As a matter of fact, she's traveled already for, you know, the late wife's wakekeep. And the husband is insisting that she comes back that day.
Okay.
Immediately after the wakekeep, that there's no need for her to stay over.
Okay.
And being that she's the only sibling that is closer in terms of proximity to the brother, she feels she has to be there. You get?
Okay.
So, you know, she's now, you know, asking for, you know, other siblings to kind of help, you know, speak to her husband on her, like, she has to be here for her brother. You know, so there's basically that in line where, you know, you have to choose between your husband and family. Okay, well, your husband and a sibling, because yeah, these are families.
Yeah.
It's just that one is an extended family, the other is a close family.
So younger sibling especially, you know, younger sibling especially, I would, you know, start appealing for some kind of compassion, you know, because, you know, a lot of, especially for females, for women who have younger siblings, there's all that whole motherhood thing going on. A lot of the time, you felt like, you know, the mother of that child, and then suddenly the person is in need, and you just feel like
you have to be there for them.
Yeah, you have to be there for them.
Okay.
But it's all just an appeal, really, because for many women, for many wives, they've literally taken everything their husband says, hook, line, and sinker, everything the husband says that they must do. But at that point, I'm thinking she should just appeal for some compassion from her husband and, you know, just appeal. But it has to be her. I'm saying, like the way we talked about third parties yesterday. Yeah. It can't be third party doing this. It has to be between her and her husband. You can't call
100.
someone from outside to get that done. No, I don't think it'll work.
Mike?
No, I fully agree with that, 100. maybe you can call. Depends on the kind of influence the person has over your husband. It's possible, and depends on maybe how close the person is.
I'm trying to think about how
it's possible. So, but on that one, I'm 100. I agree. I agree with you. Just continue making the appeal until.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but my take on this is okay.
What?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm only looking at it from one angle, which is, okay, so yes, I understand that you have to listen to your husband, yes, and if he's insisting that you should come home, you should, yes. But then again, it's not every time that you get to be, or you get to be there for, you know, an extended family member, especially in that time of need. So because it is just a one-off, it's just one of those times, you should be excused to be there for your sibling.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's not, sometimes, especially when you're grieving, when one is grieving, it takes a lot for, you know, someone to reach out to this person. Having people around when you're grieving is very important. Like, it helps, especially when you have, as in, he just lost his father last month. I mean, my friend, they just lost their father last month. Now he's losing a wife. So it's
a lot.
It's a lot. Do you understand? So I feel that I think the husband is just being selfish because he doesn't want to be home with the kids alone.
I wouldn't, okay, I get the kids part, I get that. But I would love to think that before they got married, they were teammates. They were on the same team. I would like to appreciate the fact that if my man says something, I might feel, it might be selfish, but is there another reason? Could there be another reason? Could he be protecting me from something? Could he protect
me?
Yes.
Yesterday we had something
because there's some emotions. Maybe he feels you can't even handle it. You never know.
Yesterday we spoke about something about when Toju was talking about third party in marriages. What actually happened? He said, look, all these kind of things are relative. You understand? You don't have. There are no hard and fast rules. There's no stocking iron or ironclad rules. I would say this is what you must do. At every particular situation, there's a different way that it will go. You know, there's no way it will just follow that way.
There's no one way.
So for me personally, I would want to say that, look, hey, deal with this. Look at it. Ask for wisdom in what to do. Probably, if you are a religious person, you definitely want to ask from God, and find
the
a
Holy
way.
Spirit. Like they always say, the Holy Spirit is your best friend if you're married.
Okay, it is very true. But I'm still on that teammates thing. Okay. I would like to think of the positive reasons why my husband would say, don't go here or don't be here at this particular point in time. But I would like to think about that side too.
But do you really need to look at it critically?
You would have to, because this is emotions tearing you apart. This is my brother that I literally changed his diapers. You know, this is somebody I fed. This is somebody that I held his hand when we were going to school. There are emotions there that your husband would probably never understand. But could there be another reason? And if you're mature enough to open your mind to that other reason, then you would likely listen to your husband. You would likely listen.
Okay.
Hello, and of course, if you are just joining us, welcome. But if you have been with us for the past 1 hour, welcome back. You already know we still have a solid 1 hour, 45 minutes to go on the show.
Yes, we do. Now, we take unreserved pride in knowing that you have the very best of content to look forward to when you pick up that remote, put on that TV, and tune to TVC to watch Wake Up Nigeria on every morning.
We have a commitment to you, and of course, we remain true, strong, and dedicated to it, to be here, as long as you are here with us.
Yes, indeed. Now, at this point, we also urge you to remain committed to your personal safety. Now, if you have to be up and about, please keep yourself safe.
Exactly. What you do for others, you also do for yourself. You keep yourself safe, you keep others safe also. I am Mike Messick.
And I'm Titilayo Oyinson. Remember, you can stream the show live at tvcentertainment.tv. You can also watch us on Facebook at TVC Connect.
You download our app to also interact and watch us. It's available on Android and iOS. And you can watch us anywhere around the world once you have the app.
Yes, indeed. Now, for another memorable run in the kitchen, we're going to have an amazing chef in the building. Chef Alex is going to be here with us very, very soon.
Yep, not
And,
here yet, but he'll be with us.
Yeah, is standing by for the chef in the kitchen.
Hi, guys. So Chef Alex will be joining us later on. He's stuck in some traffic, but he'll definitely be here.
All right, then. That's one thing that really came back. A lot of people didn't want to come back. The traffic in Lagos.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just undeniably back in full force. So take care out there.
All right.
Take care. Aha, he just stepped into the studio.
He just stepped into the studio.
Yeah. All right.
Mike, I know that you've done a few acting gigs.
Yeah.
But have you ever been given a script that you couldn't relate, like you couldn't connect with?
Okay, I couldn't connect with.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, there was this YouTube channel I was going through, and they were talking about actors who had to go some extra lengths to interpret a script. You know, maybe it's the way we are here, it's the way our industry is, and all of that. But I dare say, majority of the actors are not thinking of connecting. You are not, so it's see.
You're thinking survival.
You're not exactly. You're not even thinking of I want to connect. Especially somebody tells you, gives you a lead role, and you say because of some personal biases you want to reject it. Are you okay? Because you're not connecting. Mama, you will interconnect. You will reconnect.
And then speaking of connecting with the viewer as well. Like, so there's some roles you play, like if you were to play Martin Luther King, right, with all the people that look up to him, you'd want to act the role in such a way that it connects with the viewers, right? So if you yourself don't even have the confidence to say, man, I don't think I act this role well, you probably let it go.
So for an actor,
let it go.
For an actor, your priority is not the viewers, because it's not live.
Yeah, you can't see them.
It's you.
Yeah.
It's
I
you.
mean,
you
when
have
I say
to,
viewers, I mean who is going to watch it.
No, you don't care about that.
Yeah,
if you're giving, you don't care about that. You don't care about who's going to watch it.
Okay.
You care about, like you said. So, for instance, if I was to play Martin Luther, I'm thinking about Selma, about the march from Selma to Montgomery. I don't care about what somebody thinks Martin Luther is. I do my research, get into the character, and I try. So, because that character, I might be changing public perception
about who Martin Luther King is.
So, if I start thinking of what the people want to know about Martin Luther, it will affect my own representation or characterization of that particular character. So what I'm going to do is that I get that character, I put it, it is me. That's what, like she said, I connect with the character and poop, I drop it. It is me now that will paint public perception.
You know, talking about Martin Luther King.
We have to go for news now.
We have to.
Yeah,
I was connecting with Mike there. You know, Mike was connecting with me. You know. Speaking of connecting, we need to connect with our news update at this point. And the Nigeria Center for Disease Control reported 409 new cases of coronavirus overnight, taking the country's total to 13,873. Lagos State recorded 201 new cases, followed by Abuja with 85. Delta has 22, Edo 16, Nasarawa, Borno, and Kaduna have 14 cases each. Bauchi 10, Rivers 9, Enugu and Kano 5 each. Ogun and Ondo 4 each, while Bayelsa, Kebbi, and Plateau have 2 cases each. A total of 4,351 people have been discharged, while 382 persons have died from COVID-19 related complications. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed deep sadness over the brutal killings of tens of people by Boko Haram in Gubbio local government area, Borno State. The president says the primitive nature of the killings is particularly shocking because it happened not long after Ramadan and also when the country is preparing to celebrate Democracy Day. Condemning the incident, President Buhari charged the military to sustain their recent string of successes against the terrorists, to extract a heavy price from them and bring back all those they kidnapped. He also expressed the sincere condolences of the government and the people of Nigeria to the bereaved families, communities, the government and people of Borno State. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has paid a visit to Gubbio local government where the deadly attack by Boko Haram took place. The terrorists attacked Faduma Kolomidi, nomadic village located 35 kilometers in the north of Gubbio, the headquarters of Gubbio local government area. A survivor told the governor that 81 residents were killed during the attack and 13 persons injured, while 7 others, including the village head, were abducted. Governor Zulum urged the Nigerian military to undertake a final onslaught that would put an end to the insurgents in the shores of Lake Chad. The governor described the attack as barbaric and unfortunate. He evacuated 5 injured persons in his convoy for treatment at an undisclosed hospital. And that's all we have time for on the news updates at this point. Sports is coming up next with Mike. Let's proceed with the paper headlines once again this morning. I'm starting with the Punch newspaper here, and it says, public hearing, governors, NMA, NLC, others tackle reps over NCDC bill. Legislation threatens Nigeria's federalism, a recipe for disaster. A recipe for disaster, NGF says. Ogun records 104 coronavirus infections in Shagamu company. Some Nigerian operators producing oil at $93, according to NMPC. COVID-19 threatening 13 million jobs in Nigeria, according to the United Nations. Senate considers revised 2020 budget today. Taraba killings, confessions of killer soldiers. Malami shields from trial. Now, there's an image of a few images of the unending gridlock at the Opik end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway on Wednesday. And it did seem to be quite tense there yesterday. I passed through there myself. It says here, Amotekun begins operation in Oyo, July, says Makinde. Lagos mechanic burnt in gas explosion. NOHIL detains corpse. Insurgents pretended to be preachers, killed 81 people, survivor tells Zulum. Ondo cemetery workers remanded for cutting off corpses' heads. Page 5 has more on that. Obaseki in late night session as APC screens Edo aspirants. More about that on page 8. And that's what we have on the cover of the Punch. Now, on the cover of the Nation newspaper here, it says Edo Ondo, violence will stop, results declaration. INEC warns. APC panel screens Obaseki, Izeyamu, others. Story starts there on the cover and wraps up on page 5. It also says here, Nigeria to implement OPEC plus cut in July. Page 25 has more on that. On the COVID-19 global cases, now the alarming number of 7,404,123 people have been recorded to have contacted the coronavirus internationally. The deaths recorded so far number 416,599. In Nigeria, the number has really risen. It stands today at 13,873 cases recorded in Nigeria of COVID-19. And so far, 382 people have died. It says here, Boko Haram bandits kill 99 in Borno Katsina attacks. Buhari orders troops to go after terrorists. And I'll wrap with this one. Lockdown raised rape cases, says federal government. Man rapes 40 women in Kano. 2 die for rape robbery. And 45-year-old defiles toddler. That's what we have on the cover of the Nation. Now I have the Guardian newspaper here right now, and it says anxiety mounts as APC panel screens Edo Guba candidates. Obaseki graduated from UI, registrar confirms. Panel screens Izeyamu, Ogewonyi, Odubu, Obazi. Governor appears for late night screening. And INEC warns against violence in Edo Ondo polls. Governors, Labour, NMA, others tackle reps over health bill. House bars journalists as CUPP urges rejection of final report. Governor, or rather government, won't hold bid rounds for OPLs, OMLs without PIB. Page 3 has more on that. And also on page 4, we have this story, how chloroquine can be used to treat coronavirus by VC. And that's what we have on the cover of The Guardian. Now I have the Daily Sun coming up next. It says, as Yakubu warns politicians, no result if Edo-Ondo polls are disrupted, according to INEC. APC screens Obaseki, Izeyamu, 3 others. Top right of the page there, it says, IPOB mobilizes against herdsmen in Southeast, seeks unity of all stakeholders. Federal government declares war on rapists, moves to domesticate violence against persons prohibitive act. President's aide, Fayemi, trades words over performance in Ekiti. Why we're against infectious disease bill, according to governors. Reps passes revised 10.8 trillion naira 2020 budget. And that's it for the Daily Sun. The Nigerian Tribune has this major headline, 99 killed in Borno, Katsina. Kidnappers killed 2, abduct others in Kogi. Police arrest man who raped 40 women in 1 year. Page 4 has more on that story. It says at the top here, it says Nigeria, India, Democratic Republic of Congo, home to over 33% of the world's poorest, according to the World Bank. And I'll wrap with this one. Protesters behead Christopher Columbus statue in Boston. That's what we have on the cover of the Nigerian Tribune. And that's all we have time for, the headlines in the dailies for this morning. We have to head over to the garden.
Welcome back. You're still on to Wake Up Nigeria. And of course, I'll be spending a lot of time in the kitchen this morning with Chef Alex. Hello.
Hi, Amen.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
How have you been? It's been a really long time.
It is. I mean, since the lockdown, I've just been, here and there, blah, blah.
Cooking is storm, I can imagine. All right, this morning, Chef Alex will be making
scrambled egg sandwich, scrambled egg and avocado sandwich.
Okay. Let's take it easy. This morning we'll be making avocado and scrambled egg sandwich.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
That's what we're making this morning. So let's talk about the ingredients we'll be working with.
Okay, yes. So in fact, the ingredient is actually my main focus because I want to try as much as possible to make sure that we're making use of the ingredient in season. And that's what I've come with avocado.
Avocados, okay.
In most homes right now, as I speak to you this morning, most of the ingredients you can find here, you find it in almost everyone's home, avocado, and then it's just all over. Okay. So I just want to tell people that, hey, you have avocado in your fridge, you have egg, you've got tomatoes, you've got, sliced bread and mayonnaise. So you can whip up something very different from your regular breakfast, and then, before you go to work.
Oh, nice. I'm really liking this spread. It is a delicious spread. I mean, you could just do this, prepare it overnight, and then you wake up in the morning. When you get up in the morning, you just quickly whip up something, and then you dash off to the office. Exactly. All right, so let's get to work. What are we starting with?
First of all, I'll be, cutting this up.
Okay,
into,
avocados.
A smaller bit, probably just lightly mash it up here.
Okay.
And then...
and then our eggs?
Yes, and then our eggs, going to break them up in a bowl as well. Just going to show you how to do that. So,
and I'm wondering, where does the milk come in?
Okay, so if you're very familiar with scrambled egg making, it's always very good to have much more of dairy in your scrambled egg so that it makes it looks.
When you say dairy, it means milk.
Milk, milk, cheese, ricotta cheese, soft kind of cheese, so that it just makes it taste better and then also fluffier. Makes it come out, fluffier. So that's why I'm using this milk. Okay. So it's just improve the texture and the taste of the scrambled egg. Sorry.
Yeah. And I noticed that for our scrambled eggs, you're not using vegetable oil.
Yes, I won't be using vegetable oil. And well, usually if you want to make scrambled egg, you're meant to spray your non-stick pan. Even if it's a non-stick pan, you've got to spray it with either cooking spray or just lightly brush it with butter. But then for this kind of pan that I'll be using, there's no need for
Any of that?
Any of that, yeah.
Okay.
But if you're not using this kind of pan, you've got to spray it so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan.
Or if you can use a cooking spray, then you just gloss your oil over it. Okay,
so
great.
that's just it.
All right, well, that's a lot of eggs.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's just enough for me.
Okay.
And then just going to
mix it
up together.
All right, if you're just joining us this morning, we are making avocado and eggs, scrambled eggs sandwich. Yeah. And of course, Chef Alex is going to be, is going to do that. He's going to be serving us breakfast this morning. And it's quite a lovely spread. Avocados are in season right now. They are very, very, very nutritious and have got like amazing health benefits. All right, so while we're getting breakfast ready, we'll head over to Titi, who's going to be having an etiquette discussion with Janet Adetu. Now, hello, Titi.
Thank you, Now, etiquette is something that we really take seriously on Wake Up Nigeria, and we always appreciate Janet Adetu. She's definitely our go-to person when you need to polish up some more, So just be aware of your social conduct. Now, she is the Chief Executive and Lead Consultant at JSK Etiquette Consortium and a Certified Executive Business Coach. In line with that, she'll be sharing some tips on email etiquette. Now, a lot of us have been a little bit lazy. We've been all at home. I think we need a refresher course on email etiquette. It's great to have you here, Janet Adetu.
Thank you so much, Titi. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. How are you
doing?
All right. Good, great, absolutely. Emails are extremely important, especially if you work for an organization or indeed you need to do some kind of communication business-wise, okay? It's an essential tool, but like every other thing, some people tend to abuse it. And it's very important for us to remember the underlying issues when it comes to emails. The first thing that is very important about emails is to know who you want to send it to. You need to put in those people that you want to send your email to and take out all other people that you don't want to read that email. Sometimes you get an email and it's been copied, other people have been copied in, and suddenly you just reply to all. Not everybody needs to read that email. So take out all the people that shouldn't be in that email. Make sure that there's a subject to that email so that whoever's reading it will understand what it's all about. And there's a body. And I want to say this, I'm just running through this right now and I'll go through it one by one in a moment. Let there be a body to your email. But if your email has more than 2, max 3 paragraphs, that's a story that needs to come in a letter form. It's no more email worthy, okay? And always have a signature at the end that speaks to who you are, what company you work for, and your contact details. Now, taking it back a little bit, there should always be some form of introductory statement. Now, remember, if it is your office, you don't want to give nicknames like hi, and there's a nickname to that person. If it's business, address them with their, Miss, Mr., Mrs. kind of thing. It's formal, okay? So let there be that proper introductory acknowledgement of the person that you're speaking to. Then a bit of an introductory statement, because some people receive 250, 300 emails a day. They haven't got time for fluff. So what's the email about at the beginning, so that if the person needs to read more, then they know what it's all about, okay? Send someone that email and let it have a clear message at the top. Now, when you're putting in your title, don't use capital letters. As a matter of fact, that's one of the rudest ways to address your email. If it has a subject title, just put it there. It doesn't need to be in capital letters. It doesn't need to be in red. And don't make it urgent if it is not urgent. It's unfair to the person having to read it. If it's not urgent, don't put urgent there. Some people put red flags and things to make it look urgent so that they will read it. But if it's not urgent, it's not urgent. It's important to remember the time you send your email. Don't send your email during the holidays. Don't send an email over the weekend. Even when it's a Friday at 8 p.m., don't bother to send that email anymore, because you shouldn't be expecting any response over the weekend because it is weekend. And be sure that that email will not be responded to on a normal day until the following Monday of the new week. So if you have an important email to make, wait till a working day and make sure you send it within working hours. Sending it in the evening at 8, 9 p.m. is really not fair to the person that you are speaking to. And many a times, some people can lose your email in the midst of so many emails when you send it at the wrong time. Remember, if you're sending an email internationally, remember the time zone when you're to wherever you're sending that email to. That's very important, especially if it's urgent and you need a response. Remember, some places are 8 hours, 5 hours, different, and you need to acknowledge that as well. It's very, very important. Please read your email before you send it. Many a times there are grammatical errors, and if it speaks to, somebody you're looking for some kind of deal or something, all those things matter. Okay, it shows that you don't have attention to detail. So once you've written that email, make sure you read through it properly before you send it. And many a times, some people are not careful. Not only do you read the email, like I said earlier, know who you're sending it to. There are times when you're in a hurry and you've written that email and you've written it with some anger. Be careful what you write in your email. Once you send it, unlike WhatsApp where you can get it back, you can't get your email back. Honestly speaking, you can't. You can't take it back. So when you're pressing a J and you want to send it to John, make sure you don't send it to Janet. Because many times some people send it to Janet instead of John, and it's the wrong person, and it gets into the wrong hands. Okay. Of course, be humor. You don't want humor. But what I want to say quickly is don't reply emails in an anger. All right, and make sure that once again those emails. Be careful. Some people put emails and they put smiley face in an email.
Could we touch on the signature part as quickly as possible?
Yes.
The end of an email, in as quick as possible. What should be in your final signature in a mail?
Your final signature should be your name, your contact details. So maybe your follow-up email, your number, maybe an email of where you work. Some people tend to put quotes, other people's quotes, and long ones. That's irrelevant. You don't really need to add all those quotes, other people's quotes, third-party quotes, unless it's a very short one-liner one. If it's too long, don't worry about it. I don't really subscribe to putting your picture in the signature. It's not necessary. You can put the logo of your organization, but make sure that your signature is brief, not too long. Some people are putting all their accolades and all their awards there as well. I think that should be in your website, not necessarily in your email. It says too much and it's not relevant. Make sure your email is relevant to the person you are sending it to. Don't send junk mails. Don't send follow-on mails. People will just cut you off. You need to be serious every time you send out an email.
Thank you so much for that refresher on email etiquette. For those of you who are just resuming back at the office, I have a feeling you've been substantially reminded of what you need to be doing with your emails. Thank you so much, Janet Adetu, for that one.
Thank you.
Can't wait to hear from you again soon.
Thank you for staying with us. Adebowale Owoseni is a senior lecturer in information systems and a digital innovator with proven successes in the corporate and the academic arena. Of course, he will be with me this morning via Skype to talk about the use of ICT in times of uncertainty like this. Hello, Doctor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are
you doing? I'm fine.
All right. How's the UK this morning?
UK is beautiful. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. It's great to have you here also. So we are in uncertain times. I mean, maybe times have not been, in quotes, uncertainer than this in our lifetime. And a number of things are just going on and all of that. A lot of our lives now revolve around technology. I mean, we're having to have a Skype conversation with you from the UK and all of that. A number of people are more open to what technology can offer in these times. But let's talk about it now. In times like this, where there is that use, or the use of technology has actually skyrocketed and all of that. How well can we use it? How well can we keep ourselves safe? How well can we navigate these times when it comes to ICT?
Oh, well, I think it's amazing how creative we have become with the use of ICT. Just like you have said, but maybe I should buttress that a little bit. So we've seen interesting things happening online. Okay, so for example, we've seen people having parties online, having funerals online, having naming ceremonies online. Interestingly, it seems as if governance is even moved online. A couple of times I've seen the vice president at meetings, online, and then even schooling, working from home pre-COVID era used to be I mean, it's not a taboo, but it's something that employers of labor seems to frown on. Those days, I remember us having a working leave, meaning you are on leave, but then you are home, you are working. But today, it seems as if all these things have changed. And then I just wonder what actually changed. Why is it that we tend to now accept and make use of technology in this trying and turbulent time, unlike we've done before? Those days people complain that the reason why they can't use technology is because of the technology itself. But again, it just appears to me that major reason is about a closed mindset. It's not really about the limitations of the technology, but our mindset towards the usage of this technology.
Now that is
but
where
quickly,
exactly. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, but quickly, I think we have three major implications. Okay, so the first thing we are going to see is that this creativity is going to bring about a disruption. You recall our last conversation about fourth industrial revolution and how it's going to impact employment and impact every other aspect of our life. So it appears that fourth industrial revolution is coming quickly or quicker than we thought of. So there's going to be a lot of businesses that will go under, and then we're going to see the rise of new business models based on digital technologies. Okay, an example is going to be maybe a dry cleaner. Okay, so today we've seen a lot of offices shut down, and then people are working from home. So consider Mr. Hay, who is a dry cleaner and has about 5 customers. 4 out of those 5 customers are bankers, and they work on the Highland. So the reason why that dry cleaner is having business or had business is those days because those guys are going to the office. But today, with 4 people not going to the office, then you see that dry cleaner, eventually is going to lose market and then lose job. And then another example might be people that sell sashimi and all that, so there are no more parties, and then those businesses will go under. But then again, we're going to see the rise of new businesses based on digital technology, data usage, and all that.
Now that's exactly...
The second thing...
Doctor, that's exactly,
Hello?
just before you go into the second thing, Doctor, that's exactly what I wanted to mention now. Adaptability, when it comes to the common man, adaptability to that era of everything being digital, that is something that has been quite hard. How can someone make that process, that segue, how can one make it easy? For, you have a number of people, maybe the elderly, the baby boomers who, they've not been so used to technology, but now everything is getting into the technological space. How do they adapt?
Well, I think we need to be creative about it. But one thing I also think we need to know is that the potential drawback of technology, okay, is that it has the potential of widening the inequality gap, the social inequality gap. And I'm afraid there is little we can do about it, because sometimes it appears it's going to make the poorer, the poor poorer, and then the rich getting richer, in quote. So you take, for example, students that don't even have access to good schools before COVID. How do you expect them to have access to schools online? They don't have access to data, they don't have access to good schools. But then today we've seen that the children of the rich that couldn't go to school before, because of COVID, they've all moved online, and then school is going on for them. So for people that don't really have this technology, yes, they can adapt and then begin to learn about how to use some of them. An example is going to be, I've seen people making use of WhatsApp, as an example for schooling. Yeah. I've seen people hold fellowship, churches, and all that on WhatsApp. And then you wonder how they make use of this, because they can't afford the kind of data that Zoom technology or Skype and all that is going to require. That's live streaming. But on WhatsApp, you can just do voice messages and then combine it with your text message, and then you are gone. You are good to go. So, you just need to look at creative ways of doing these things. And I also think that some of our digital technology providers should also look at technologies that will be affordable for the common man.
Okay, wonderful. Doctor, you have 2 more points to give us. We will conclude on those 2 more points next week. We have to go now.
Okay.
We'll conclude. We just please keep them down. We'll continue talking about using ICT in terms of uncertainty. We have 2 more points to go from you. Thank you very much for such an expose this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a blessed day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Okay, that's it. I hope you're able to learn something there. Hey, come on. We have to look. There is no option. We all have to adapt. For those of us who are not tech savvy, you have to be. These are times, it's the future, it is now, right? Now that's all we can take now. That was tech, of course, and Dr. Adibowale Owoseni was our guest. I'll have to head over to the kitchen, of course. How far have you guys gone with, what is it, sandwich? Or
yes, we are making avocado and egg, scrambled egg sandwich this morning. Thank you very much, Mike. Well, yes. How can you tell, though? All right, so welcome to the kitchen, guys. With me is Chef Alex, and this morning we are making sandwich.
Yes,
using scrambled eggs and avocado.
Yes.
And Alex, let's run through the ingredients quickly.
Okay, so once again, the ingredients are avocado, our eggs, which has been scrambled just a few minutes ago. Then tomato, we have our bread here, mayonnaise, and that's all. Yeah. So for this bread, I was going to mention something that if you don't have a toaster, yes, you can just use your pan, just toast it on the pan, and then all of that, that's all. So that's just.
All right, and then let's not forget to tell our viewers that we added milk to our eggs.
Oh,
remember?
yes, we added milk to our eggs.
Because you said you wanted to make it fluffy. You wanted
exactly.
to be softer.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so now that our eggs are ready, you want to just run us through how you made this scrambled eggs?
Yes.
Just in case?
Yes, please. Okay, so how I made the scrambled egg is that in the bowl, just the empty bowl, you have your eggs, in the bowl, and then you just add your milk. Whip it together like that, and then in your pan. I mentioned the other time that if you're not using this kind of pan, make sure you spray it so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. So just the egg and the milk together, whip it up, and then pour it in gently with a wooden spoon or a rubber spatula. Just gently stir it like that,
Okay.
exactly. So and then we came up with this. So that's just
good.
it. Yeah.
That looks good. You didn't add salt. You didn't add any seasoning.
No, not at all. If you want to add salt, if you like salt in your egg, you can add. Sure.
Okay, great. So now let's start making our sandwich, right?
Okay. Yes.
That's where we're at right now.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah,
okay. So I'm just going to take this here. All right.
So here.
So right now, avocado. You already mashed avocado. You didn't add anything in it, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. And you're making use of our pop-up toaster.
Exactly.
We can't move it up here because of space. But like he said earlier on, if you do not have a pop-up toaster, you can easily use your pan to, make your bread toasty.
Exactly.
Toasted,
On the both side. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
so very simple, like I said. Your mayonnaise first.
Okay.
So usually for some people, they like to have lettuce on the sandwich.
Yeah.
So if you like lettuce on yours, immediately after this mayonnaise, what you just do is add a very flat, crunchy, fresh lettuce on top of it like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so here we have
a very simple recipe.
Very, very simple recipe.
Very simple and
so
easy.
After that, just have like a good dash
of eggs.
Here.
That looks good. And let's not forget, avocados are very healthy. And
yes, they are.
They are really healthy. They have probably all the nutrients that you can think of. They're good for the hair. It's a thing that I actually used it in treating my hair a few days ago. Yes. That's how, nutritious it is. Yeah. It's good for the eyes. It's good for the skin. It's good for, so it has so many amazing properties, health benefits that, you could think of. Okay.
So on top of it is another layer of bread.
Oh, okay. So this is like a double-decker kind of sandwich.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay, great. So I'm just wondering at what point does the tomatoes come in and the avocado? This is like eating a burger.
Right.
Okay.
So We're having another layer of this in,
Eggs,
yeah.
okay.
Because I'll be making for 2 here.
Okay.
Just for me.
Then talking about mayonnaise, you know,
Okay.
you could actually make your own homemade mayonnaise.
Yes, you
if
can.
like.
Yes, you can if you like. Just what you need to consider when you're making your homemade mayonnaise is that it's fresh, and so since it's fresh, you have to be, you have to make it fresh, so that it does not, get spoiled.
All right. So our egg sandwich is taking shape. Gradually, we're getting there. Very soon, breakfast will be served. But there's still so much more to come on the show, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Wow, it seems like we just blinked and 2 hours just gone. Wow.
Was it like a blink for you?
It was like, yeah, just, I feel like I just got here 5 minutes ago.
It was one of the blink for me. Now, of course, if you just tuned in, let's see, you missed 2 hours of the show already. That's sad. But
Yeah.
you got 45 more minutes to go. We're going to make it merry for you. Of course, don't forget, next time, 6 o'clock, that's the time it kicks off.
As always, it's been a potpourri of amazing activities, and there's still so much more set to happen. Remember,
Now, of course, the holy grails of safety: nose mask, hand sanitizer, frequent washing of your hands. I am Mike Mesikeno.
and I'm Titilayo Oyinson. It's so funny you mentioned the nose mask and hand sanitizer. I actually forgot mine this morning. I had to go back.
To go
it was
get
so
it.
important that I had to go back to go and get it. You need to make sure you stream live. If you need to move around, you can do that by visiting our website. That's tvcentertainment.tv, and of course, facebook.com/TVC Connect.
You can also download our app to watch us anywhere you are around the world on Android and iOS.
Yeah. So shortly, we're going to be speaking with painter and sculptor Akano Shegun. Now, he's going to be displaying some of his works as well.
to that
I
one.
really appreciate. I want to go back to your drawing.
Yeah, so
just now.
we used to do. So I even started. I used to draw with grid lines. That's one of the things where I want to start drawing. So, for instance, let's say this paper now, you have portrait per se.
Yeah.
So around now, let's say you have a portrait here, and then it's on an A4, and you want to replicate it on a canvas or bigger. So the first thing you'd normally do is to draw grid lines. And you know how to use grid lines on Microsoft Word and maybe PowerPoint or something.
Yeah.
So you draw grid lines and then you separate it into boxes and all of that. That will help you translate what you have there on a larger scale. Scaling.
Oh.
That's quite important. Yes, scaling. So if you go a 3 by 3.
Yeah.
Let's say Sudoku 3 by 3, and then you go 3 by 3. You now put that scale on a bigger one, so you know exactly where in proportion to other parts of the body. So let's say if the mouth is on the 3rd scale here, you definitely know it has to conclude this 3rd scale here. It will help you when you want to draw. You understand?
It's another side
So
of Mike we've not seen.
Exactly.
I'm like,
I'm shocked.
So and then also it works for lettering also. Lettering also is quite easy. When you do lettering, you have to use scale if you want to do lettering and all of that. So
that sign writers, like the local sign writer.
Yeah.
Like you see them do that a lot. That scaling that you're talking about.
Okay.
So they will draw it on a piece of paper in front of you. So guy, how do you want the sign to be? You remember? And then they start drawing, and then you're like, how exactly are they going to? That what you ordered versus what you get kind of thing. So,
but it's interesting. I mean,
I was
drawing.
asked to.
Wow. Okay.
Draw. So maybe so I think along the line. So I had this particular friend who moved over to graphics, graphic designs, and then I went to graphic designs, and then I went to school where just getting. I don't know if you remember off my Uniport, where by the side you had the art gallery. So you'd always see some lovely, and it is a form of art that is, in quote, elitist. Yes, because normally you have more of generally people appreciate art, but people will pay more when somebody puts in such amount of work. I would never. I'm sorry about it, but there's a story I'll never forget. I think it had to do with it wasn't Da Vinci, but a very popular artist, because people tend to throw names whenever a past story is around. But he was in a plane, and then this woman saw him, and then no one's like, take a, just draw something of me and I'll pay you for it. And I was like, okay. So he just goes, and in 10 minutes, perfect, with his pen and all that, perfect, beautiful. Okay. And then she goes there in first class, and I guess she goes, okay, so how much am I paying for this? She said $30,000. She said, what? for 10 minutes? She said, you're going to have to pay. She said, okay, I will pay. But why do you charge that much for just 10 minutes? He said, there's something remarkable. He said, you did not pay me for 10 minutes. You paid me
For
for
all
the
the
years
years.
I spent to learn how to do that in 10 minutes.
Wow. Okay, all right.
Yeah, because
Fantastic.
I mean, you mentioned something about graphic designers earlier on. I mean, I know that during the lockdown, there were a lot of graphic designers that were cashing out.
Yeah, sure.
They were making monies because, you know, live streaming, live chats on Instagram and different social media platforms was the rave of the moment at the time. So everyone wanted to create or design, you know, posters and stuff. I know that graphic designers were making tons
People
of
that
money.
train people to also do their own posts were also cashing out. So, you know, if there are some softwares, websites where you can go and actually do your own designs, they have very user-friendly platforms where you just drag and drop and you can make your own posts.
Oh, wow.
While teachers get you ready for the news now, remember, especially creatives, pay creatives, dancers, actors, producers, pay them. They spent enough of time. They spent a lot of time getting that something. You say it's 5 minutes. They spent years. Don't come and ask us to do it for free. All right. It's time.
I like that
for the news
word,
now.
us.
Time for the news now. It's time
All
for the
right,
news
then.
now.
And the Nigeria Center for Disease Control reported 409 new cases of coronavirus overnight, taking the country's total to 13,873 rather. Lagos State recorded 201 new cases, followed by Abuja with 85. Delta has 22, Edo 16, Nasarawa, Borno and Kaduna have 14 cases each. Bauchi 10, Rivers 9, Enugu and Kano 5 each, Ogun and Ondo 4 each, while Bayelsa, Kebbi and Plateau have 2 cases each. A total of 4,351 people have been discharged, while 382 persons have died from COVID-19 related complications. President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed deep sadness over the brutal killings of tens of people by Boko Haram in Gubio local government area of Borno State. The president says the primitive nature of the killings is particularly shocking because it happened not long after Ramadan and also when the country is preparing to celebrate Democracy Day. Condemning the incident, President Buhari charged the military to sustain their recent string of successes against the terrorists, to extract a heavy price from them and bring back all those they kidnapped. He also expressed the sincere condolences of the government and the people of Nigeria to the bereaved families, communities, and the government and people of Borno State. And now to aviation matters. The domestic wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, is fast being prepared for flight resumption in a little less than 2 weeks from now. This is to ensure that passengers observe COVID-19 preventative protocols directed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. General Aviation is terminal wearing a new look and in readiness for the 21st of June. The new design is in line with impacts of coronavirus and aviation on the aviation sector in Nigeria. Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria has created lanes for queues, floor markings, and tent for port health to check the health status of passengers. Inside the terminal, there are shields at airline counters to prevent the staff and customers from direct contact. At the departures waiting area, where are signage for seatings and security screening and more. All of these are to ensure that passengers observe social distancing, hand washing and sanitizing at the airport. For the regulators, almost all scheduled airlines have filed their restart plans and the agency is reviewing their documents. Cases of coronavirus infections have surpassed the 2 million mark, according to Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. has the highest number of cases in the world, followed by Brazil and Russia. Despite the daily increase in number of infections amidst Black Lives Matter protests rocking the country, states are aggressively lifting restrictions and reopening their economies. Some of the most affected cities, including New York, New Jersey, California, Illinois, Texas, Massachusetts. Globally, there are now more than 7.3 million infections and over 416,000 deaths. And that's it on the news update for today on Wake Up Nigeria. Sports is up next with Mike.
Okay. All right, Shegun, can you? All right, can you? Is the audio quite good? Can you hear me very well now? Okay, we will still sort that out. We are still working on it. Something of note that I also want to mention is graffiti. Graffiti. Now that is one beautiful form of art that gets to me. Graffiti. By the way, graffiti is one of the pillars of hip hop. When you talk about b-boying, you talk about DJing, you talk about MCing, and then graffiti. One of the pillars of hip hop. Graffiti is a wonderful, beautiful. I mean, I would want a wallpaper with live graffiti. Now I think about it, probably when I move to my next place or something, if it's not the living room, I should have a room where graffiti should, should be placed above different places. I know. I just love graffiti.
You know,
what do you think about graffiti?
Graffiti is a form of expression.
Okay.
It was the way Black people use graffiti in expressing the pain and the emotions they were feeling at a time about a particular issue.
Exactly.
I mean, it's amazing how it has evolved over the years.
Exactly.
And I mean, I've seen a few graffiti works here in Lagos, and I am like completely wild at it. It's beautiful. It's an amazing form of art.
It has been used to address societal ills. At the same time, some hanky-panky has been done with graffiti also.
Yeah.
But hey, Shegun, can you hear me now? Hi, Shegun, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Sorry about we had some few issues, but I hope we can move on now. Shegun, I want to mention something straight up. You specialize in relief sculpting. What exactly do you mean by relief sculpture?
Now, relief means it's on the two-dimensional. That it's not on the round form.
Okay.
So it's on a flat surface.
Wonderful.
So I drill directly on boards. So it's something you can have on the walls, on your wall, and just hang on the wall.
All right. Now, do you have a general theme to your art? Whenever you do art, is there a general theme that surrounds everything you do, or do you approach each particular task as though it was a separate one?
Okay, if I heard correctly, if I have a general feel around each
a general
piece,
theme, yes, a general theme around your art generally.
A theme, okay.
Yeah, or do you have
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Depending on the work I'm doing at a particular time, so each piece always have a title, they have a theme. Sometimes I work on womanhood. I make pieces that borders on woman, borders on fashion, that borders on our culture, things around us, stories. So I choose each theme with the piece I'm making at the particular time. So that's what works for me.
All right, wonderful. Now, let's talk about some pieces of your artwork. There's something I see by your side there, just beside you, to probably your right there. What style of art is that? I'm not seeing it so clearly, but let's talk about that art beside you there. Let's talk about that artwork beside you. Okay. Exactly, that one. Let's talk about it. What piece do you have there? What's it titled? Talk to us about that piece.
All right, so this is a relief sculpture, like you mentioned earlier. I work majorly on screws on board. And so what I do is that, like this what I'm working on here, it's talking about Igbo, in my Igbo couple, and I titled this Owambe.
Owambe. What material? Owambe, what material did you use to recreate that feel? It has some depth. That feel, there's some depth to that. What material did you use to create that depth? What materials did you use for that work?
These are all screws. So what you can see here, there are variations in height. So I don't know if I can bring the camera close so you can see clearly.
Okay. Okay, I don't mind. Yeah. Just be careful. All right, wonderful. I like that.
All right.
Okay.
So there are variations in height. So what I worked on is the forms, the shapes. You see the eyes, you see the gele and the
That man is not
body shape.
social distancing at the moment.
So,
He's not social distancing at the moment. He's digging. That Owambe is too wonderful, wonderful. Owambe, I love that piece.
We're hoping that very soon, we get back to the normal life, and people can still go for their functions. Right.
Okay, wonderful. Now, something.
So this.
Okay, so Shegun, something I always want to talk about to different artists, and I want to talk about the financial sides. What are the pecuniary gains? Does art pay all the bills at this particular point in time? How is the appreciation for art generally and your own particular style of art?
Sorry, does art? I didn't get that correctly.
Does art for you? Is there any pecuniary advantage? Does it pay the bills at this point?
Does it pay the bills?
Yes. Does it pay the bills fully?
Does it pay the bills? Definitely. This is what I've been doing all my life.
Whoa.
It pays the bills. I can say that confidently. I'm a self-taught artist. I don't have any background in this. I'm a graduate of analytical chemistry from Rapists Architectural University.
What do you say? What do you graduate with? What do you graduate with?
I'm a graduate of chemistry.
Chemistry? And you are now an artist.
I don't have any background.
So those are my friends that did engineering and they are now in bank. It's not a problem. What you studied versus what you are doing now. I like that.
I'm self-taught, and initially it wasn't paying that much. So what matters is consistency, and when you need to have a pattern. That's just true. You need to have a style. And so when you get to the point, artists get to the point where you are being recognized for your style, you have you have a niche for yourself. And it's all about the value you bring to the table. There are so many, thousands of artists, but once you bring good quality, good value to the table, definitely they'll pay for it. And God has been helping us.
I like that you didn't start with God as the evidence. You put all that you did in place, and then you spoke about how it has been and all of that. Thank you very much, Shegun. It was great talking to you. And this is me wishing you the best, and wishing you the best in your art journey, and any more money, making more bigger exhibitions around the world. Thank you very much, Shegun.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you. All right, well, sorry for the slight issues we had. Of course, it's technicalities. It does happen. But of course, we are here to always give you the best. We'll take this short break now. When we get back, of course, we have an actor, and we're talking to him about his journey in Nollywood.
Welcome back. Now, King Bassey is a Nollywood actor and producer, best known for his role in the popular Nigerian soap opera Tinsel, where he played the role of Charles Nahoro.
The computer science graduate from the University of Lagos is also quite known for his delivery in Ombambala, 30 pieces of silver and love like a fire. And this morning he'll be joining us via Skype to tell us what he's been up to, especially since the lockdown. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So, it just feels like the whole world stood still for a bit. But producers like you were, probably just thinking about new ways to come out with something really, really great after the lockdown. So tell us what the process was like for you.
It's been quite an experience. No one saw this coming. A lot of people had a lot of expectations for 2020, and but nobody planned for COVID-19. And so, but there's one big lesson that's come out of the whole thing, and it's the importance of, working online, being virtual, like we're having right now, having this this conversation virtually. And so that has created I've always known that the future is online, the future is digital. I've always known that, but it has become more important right now, with COVID-19, for us to shift our attention towards the digital platforms and just make sure that we're putting our work out there so that when things like this happen, we aren't caught unprepared.
Okay, so I'd like to know what methods like you're putting in place to adapt with the new realities that we're living with.
Well, see, I'm basically pushing the things I've tried to set up for a while now, and that's YouTube, having a YouTube channel, having a website where probably like a subscription-based platform. That's where I was taking my business. That's where the whole move was channeled towards. But I've been kind of slow on it because of other commitments. But right now, I'm back on that drive and basically trying to push the business online, build a following on both YouTube, having an app, a website, and so you can have your own fans, connect with you on those platforms.
Okay, so the industry had its challenges before COVID-19 even came about. There were so many things people were arguing about back and forth. There's so many things the industry needed. Now, it does feel like with the lockdown and COVID-19, a lot of those things have been pushed to the back burner. Now that things are sort of almost coming back to normal, what would you suggest that the industry do to make things easier for everyone involved?
I would really suggest that we pay a little more attention to the distribution of films. Filmmakers are going through a lot right now because the platforms have developed a practice that is not all inclusive. It's a big problem for the film industry in Nigeria because it's becoming more and more of a carcass, more and more of, a lockdown system where it's very difficult for you to have your content distributed on platforms if you don't know someone there, if you don't meet certain criteria, which are highly subjective, as I would say, and limiting for the arts of filmmaking, in my own opinion. So I would think that the platforms should look a little bit more into these practices and see how they can think less. I know that it's a business, but it's a business that involves passion, and they need to put the passion, the art into the business, because right now that's not what it is. It's just a business, and the business is killing the art of filmmaking. So we need business people who are also filmmakers in the industry, or filmmakers who are business people.
Okay.
Who can strike a balance between business and filmmaking.
Okay. I know that as a movie producer. Okay. Are you still?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. I don't know. I was just going to say I hope what I'm saying makes sense.
Yeah,
to
we're
you.
connecting on another level. Don't worry.
I'd like to know, as a movie producer, I know that you have other movie productions in the works post-COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the measures you're putting in place to make sure that your team is well protected and no one's, is
just basically, I have this with me all the time.
Okay.
Wherever I go to, basically, I have this with me all the time.
Okay.
Wherever I go to, hand sanitizers, trying to maintain the social distancing. It's very important for us to keep this message. We started filming recently on Tinsel, and there's a big consciousness towards maintaining the social distancing and trying to make sure that everybody stays safe. And this affects the scripts. You understand? Right now is not the time for us. Right now is not the time for us to be writing romance, kissing and smooshing. So the viewers will just, the viewers out there will just have to accommodate the lack of these things in Yes, they just have to take it like, if they don't see these things in films, they shouldn't come and start saying, hey, it's not realistic. How can two people be in love and they don't touch each other? Hey, it's the reality of the world we live in right now, and people have to stay safe. So if we're trying to entertain you, please don't put us at risk. I think that's basically what it is. So if I'm going to produce right now, which I'm still looking at, I do have a project that I want to get into, but I'm looking at whether this is the right time for it or not.
Okay.
So I'm just going to wait a little bit longer, maybe 2-3 months before I get into any production of mine.
Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting you should mention romance scenes and things like that. What about things like fight scenes and, physical contact and stuff like that? Even a basic slap is still is still contact.
All of that.
On set.
All of that. All of that. But there's one thing that can be done. We can make sure that the actors who are involved in these scenes are tested. If the testing becomes available and reliable, then that's something we can do as well. We can test every actor who's going to be involved in any any scene that involves physical contact before the scenes are shot.
All right. Now, kind of reminds me about the process so there's a particular aspect of the international film industry that involves a lot of contact, and the actors are usually well tested and all that before they're even invited to be part of it. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
I know. I know what you're talking about.
Is this the new reality, though? At this point, the new reality is a bit scary.
I know. I know.
All right, then.
All right.
It's been really great talking to you on the show today. Thank you.
Wishing you all the best. I know that you have so much going on. I really hope this period helps to put things, in perspective for a lot of you filmmakers out there.
Yeah. Well, we would have been inviting him to breakfast if he was on set. Because our chef has been hard at work. But sorry, you're going to have to watch our chef's masterpiece from where you are. Thank you so much.
It's fine. It's fine. I'd just like to put out just one thing out there.
Okay.
My film is going live on one of the platforms this weekend. So please follow my Instagram page, King Bassi on Instagram, Facebook, King Bassi, guys. Please give me all the support you can. Go on the platform and please watch my films.
We'll do that.
We
Thank
will.
You so much.
We will. We will.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Now, Mike is standing by with the chef, and it'll be interesting to note what the chef has come up with.
Chef Alex.
Hi, Mike.
All right. I do hi as if I've not been the one doing all of this, right? So I've got something beautiful for the ladies here. After such a hard interview, hard work, we have something for them. Right, you guys should come over now. Why are we using slow motion? Come over, Jare.
They arranged. Oh, you arranged.
Oh, really? Are you joking?
Oh,
nice.
Mike.
Wow.
Gentleman.
Mike is being a gentleman. That's very strange.
God, just sit down and forget about it.
Aren't you going to sit down?
Right,
Aren't you going to sit
No,
down?
man. So just, Alex, very fast. We don't have so much. You wish you would sit down. Are you scared to sit down?
This morning,
So just tell us.
I prepared, this scrambled egg and avocado sandwich, which was made with scrambled egg, fresh egg, avocado, tomatoes, mayonnaise, and all of that. Bread. So just very quickly.
Okay,
So the process of putting this together.
I don't want to talk. Just try it. We don't have time. Try it. Don't talk. Try it. People should try it.
You shall want me to eat on air. You want me to open my mouth?
The process. What are you processing? You guys like it?
Oh.
Well
done, Alex.
Okay. All right.
This is really, really
Is it good?
tasty.
Nice.
Really good.
Tasty. Nice. Alex, that's like a 95%. Nice one,
Very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Chef
It's been a
Alex.
wonderful time. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of the show. Thank you to Omni also. We'll see you tomorrow. 6 a.m. Bye-bye.
Bye.